Hello again. I'm sorry it's been a while. Today I'm going to show y'all how to use our alligator stamp in order to make some alligator cookies. And we're going to be doing both fondant and buttercream process, but I'm going to start with the fondant process. So this comes, like all of our collections, in a book box, so you can put it on the bookshelf. It's nice and organized and labeled, and all of the pieces fit nicely inside here. All right, so this is kind of a big set, as you can see, and the reason is so that there's a lot of different combinations, different ways that you can make it. So one of them would be if you're using this large cookie cutter. So say this is the size of your cookie, and you want to have the whole thing, like one big cookie. Okay, great, awesome. But if you prefer to make like platters where you've got the cookies, the parts of the alligator, are little cookies in themselves, and you can just kind of assemble them like that around a platter or something like that, you could do that too. One of the reasons that we like to make our cookies a little bit bigger here is because having experience doing dessert catering and also selling at markets, I know that a lot of times it's much better if you can price a bigger cookie. I mean, that's it takes both my hands to hold that. You can see that's a pretty good sized cookie, and it's the same amount of energy to do the fondant or the buttercream for this alligator stamp, like if it was tiny or if it was big. It's pretty much the same amount of work. So like I said, with my experience in dessert catering and selling at markets, I just really prefer to have a bigger cookie that has bigger profit yield. Okay, so we're gonna I'm gonna clear all this off, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started with the alligator. And in case you're wondering, the yellow pieces here, this is for the buttercream. Those are our buttercream cutters. So I'm going to take all these and set them aside. All right, so my stamp is fresh and clean, and I'm going to dust it with some cornstarch. Now the welcome pack comes with a bunch of tools that you'll need, and you'll be seeing me use them. And one of them is this cheesecloth bag for cornstarch. I have tried, somebody asked me before about tapioca or arrowroot powder instead of cornstarch, and I've tried it with tapioca and it worked just fine. Okay, now I'm going to do it again. So basically I'm dusting and dumping twice. You don't do that normally. It's just the first time I'm using a stamp. I want to make sure that cornstarch is really good and in there. All right, so I've got some green fondant here, and I've already got my coloring in there. All right, so I always like to start at the center and move my way out. So I'm going to start with the center here, and I'm just pressing the fondant down in here, and then I'm going to use my acrylic scraper, if I can find my acrylic scraper. This also comes with the welcome kit right here, this acrylic scraper, and just makes getting the fondant in there, very simple, very easy. Okay, so the way this works is you're going to press down and kind of scoot from side to side while you're pressing down. There we go, and we'll do the other side. And so this side, because I don't want to drag that fondant out, I'm going to kind of hold it down in here. And again, I'm pressing down, so I'm pressing the fondant down in there and then scraping it aside. Okay, next I'm going to move on to the head. All right. I'm going to go ahead and press that fondant down in there and just kind of rip off the excess. And everybody's a little bit different. Some people like to use their fingers to do the scraping. I really like to use the acrylic scraper. I just find that it's very, very helpful. And let's see here. I'm just going to start here. And it's the same thing. I'm pressing down. I'm going to kind of hold that down. It's going to want to peel out. So I'm just holding that down and pressing down, scooching side to side, kind of running the rim of the stamp there. Okay. And so when you get a little bit left here, that is not a problem. Just use the side of your scraper to scrape that and clean it up. No worries. I'm just going to clean that up real quick. And in the welcome package, you also get this fan brush, and it's really handy for just kind of cleaning that up. Okay, the last section is going to be the tail. So I'm going to go ahead and get my fondant into the tail. Okay, here we go. And again, same thing, just kind of mashing it in here. I want to make sure that it's really getting down into the crevices, because that's how it picks up the detail. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. And this one, I'm going to do half one side, half the other, like I did the belly. So I'm just going to take this side and kind of I'm pressing down, scooting from side to side while pressing down. There we go, got that. Okay, and press all that back down in there. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to take my scraper, press down, scooting from side to side with that downward pressure. The downward pressure is super important, otherwise that fondant's going to want to peel out of there. Okay, now the last step is just to go around and kind of clean it up a bit. Any little bits of that green fondant, you know, just kind of use the edge of your scraper to scrape it off. No big deal. And then I'm going to clean it up with my fan brush. Okay, now I can tell you I've gotten a lot of cornstarch on here, and I want it to be able to stick to the base fondant that I'm going to put it on. So before I connect it to the base fondant, I'm going to be dabbing it with just a wee bit of water with this brush. This brush also comes with the welcome kit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my base fondant and roll that out. And I meant to have it rolled out. You know, the whole like magic of TV thing, but I totally spaced that. All right, so what I did for my base, you know, you can do white, and white is kind of like the normal color to do as your base fondant, but I really wanted to do something different, and so I just mixed up some blue and white together, and I'm going for a water effect. So that's why that looks the way it does. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this rolled up, and I'm sorry if this is the boring part. I'll see if I can speed through it in the edit, but I don't really know how to do all that stuff, so just bear with me a second. I really like when you mix the white and the blue together, how it kind of has these swirls like water. It's kind of cool. Okay, so this is the part where I'm going to take my brush, and I've got a little ramekin of water here. I'm going to brush just a wee bit of water on here. Tiny, tiny bit, not a ton. Okay. Just a wee bit. We don't want it like super wet. Okay. We just want to make sure that when we press all the fondant down onto the base fondant, that it's going to make a good connection. So I'm going to get rid of some of this cornstarch here. All right, and here we go. We're ready to press this down. Okay, and give it firm pressure so that that green fondant connects with the blue fondant and gets on there nice and strong. Now, if you're ever concerned that it's not enough pressure or enough contact, you can always flip it over. Use the fondant scraper, which also comes with your welcome kit, and flip it over. And some people prefer to do this like with every stamp. I don't do this with every stamp, but you know, you can if you want, and just kind of roll the other side as well. Okay, and that should be good, really good contact. So from here, we're just going to peel it gently, slowly. There we go. Okay, and now it looks like our alligator here is swimming around in the water. I wish I could say that the waters we have around here in the low country are that nice and blue, but they are not. Although, you know what? There have been more than a few times that there have been alligators that have been found swimming on the beaches. So, you know, it happens. All right, so I'm going to take that big cookie cutter. All right. And press that down. And once I've got that excess base fondant removed, and kind of like wiggle this around. I know that's going to wiggle the phone. Sorry about that. And what this is doing, just kind of trimming the fondant off. And normally I get this really, really good, but it's wiggling my phone real bad, so I don't want to do too much of that. All right. And there we go. So that is our alligator swimming through the water. And with the excess cornstarch, you can just use your fan brush, clean all that off. Okay. Now at this point, I'll put it on my cookie. I don't have a cookie next to me right now, but this, I would have, you know, baked cookies with this cutter already. Okay, so in order to get the detail for the eyes, I like to use a food marker. I call them food Sharpies. And it's just, remember that this top part right here, that's his eyelid. So I'm just going to color right in here. Just a wee little bit. You can also do this with food dye and a little bit of alcohol. You could also just paint it on that way if you don't have a food marker. But these food markers you can get, you know, from Amazon, and there's actually a company that makes them here in the US called Baker Pan that I have found on Amazon. I really like their stuff a lot. If you want to do more detail, you can also hit it with a white marker. I am not that great at this stuff. So, but anyway. That's just you can do the eyes as detailed or not detailed as you like. And again, this is where I would put it onto the cookie. I also like to cover this one with some clear blue piping gel when it's on top of the cookie, because it just gives it such a cool water look. And I'll post some pictures with that. And the piping gel recipe also comes with this set. All right, so that's how we do the fondant for the alligator. And I'll be back in just a bit to show you how to do the buttercream. Thank you.